Hello, 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 everyone. Let some folks come in here. I pray all is well with you today. If this is your first time clicking on a video, first of all, welcome. My name is Kobe Cornell Boone. I am managing director and founder of Boone Capital. We are a private equity Reg D 506C firm that is focused on real assets, man. So land, ranches, timber, and all the wonderful things that come with the beauty of the outdoors. So today I have a kind of finance focused video that I want to talk about in regards to family offices. What are they? Who are they? What are they about? What do they represent? And most specifically today, why adjacency to family offices, I would say, is starting to change a little bit as they're going more direct. So I got a little bit of a write up that I want to share with you guys today. And hopefully it gives a little more context into today's conversation. So, what's up? Let's get started. So why control and access and alignment, which really just means relationships, I think matters so much more with family offices today. So let's start with what a family office is. A family office is essentially a private investment, a wealth management group or platform, if you will, for a wealthy family. So think about your ultra high net worth individuals. Think of the Bezos, for example, or the Gates Foundation, or groups of that level, if you will, of status, or family offices, if you will. And the SEC really describes them as um, established wealthy families to manage wealth and provide services such as tax planning, estate planning, philanthropy, as I mentioned earlier, like the Gates Foundation, and investment management as well. To give you a very clear visual, imagine a spider web, if you will. In the middle, there is a spider. This is the best way I can describe it. Gotta go nature. But imagine a spider inside the middle of a web, and all of the different intricate pieces of that web that kind of branch out and connect to trees or whatever that spider is connected to, right? Think of a family office as a wealthy individual or family in the center of this web, and that web is made up of attorneys, tax accountants, wealth planners, sometimes private placement folks, wealth advisors, insurance. My God, insurance folks I've been having so many conversations with, that all make up this ecosystem, if you will, that manages the wealth for either this individual or this particular family, if you will. So, in practice, family offices may manage public markets, uh, private equity, real estate, operating businesses, trust, estate planning, tax strategy, insurance, as I mentioned earlier, and a philanthropic arm or a foundation in philanthropy, and family governance too, right? So there are single family offices. I've had some great conversations with a few of those that serve one specific family. Or actually, just this week in Dallas, Texas, I talked with a firm that represents multiple family offices that serve several different families within that umbrella. So that was a pretty cool conversation to see what they're focused on right now, especially when it comes to land and real assets. What's important to point out is that family offices are built to preserve and compound capital across generations. So we're talking about, when we say popular terms and words like generational wealth and things of that nature, this is quite literally what that is. Their goal, again, is to preserve and compound capital across generations, right? So that creates a different investment mindset. Like, they care more about control. I found that they care more about downside protection, as I mentioned earlier, insurance, key person policies, things of that nature. Especially as a new early stage founder, those kind of things really matter in conversations. They care about tax efficiency. Hey, man, wealth preservation is a huge. I've had 39 calls just in the last couple of weeks that were mainly around Section 179, Section 168K, the big beautiful bill, and bonus depreciation. Literally, they care about alignment, again, relationship. As a faith driven, if you will, firm, that is something that I've found has been um, a absolute blessing to me in my life, but also the alignment that I found with organizations and groups most recently that operate in that same way. So those things do really matter. Things like character, um, of course, things like your merit. Those things still matter today, especially in the land space where a handshake and a smile goes a long way, and kindness goes a long way too. So really grateful for those calls I've been able to be on. I would share also that they care about who is operating the asset. So, kind of going back to the key person policy I talked about before with downside protection, I have found with high net worth individuals I've spoken to, ultra high net worth individuals I've spoken to, as opposed to family offices that I've spoken to, uh, your individuals are more focused on numbers, the deal. Tell me what it is that you got. Show me your deck. Let's go through that first. Like they are very fixated on the asset. The family offices I've been privileged to speak to, I've found them to be more focused on the operator. Who is operating the asset? Tell me about you, who you are. How did you get here? What is your mission? What's your goal that you're trying to accomplish? Tell me about, hey man, I'm a father and a husband. Tell me about your family. Where is your North Star? Where is it that you're trying to get to? And again, that is that is a very different conversation. I would vouch anybody who watches this video that is in wealth management, whether you're an advisor, whatever the case may be, or you're a new fund manager or getting into the private equity space, this is a gem. Knowing how to navigate different conversations, whether it's a 30-minute call that becomes an hour and a half call. I've had that happen multiple times, thank God. Um, or a 30 or 25-minute or a 15-minute call, understanding who you're speaking to and exactly what they're looking to take away from the call and what you're looking to give or serve with is so important. It is absolutely important. Can't stress that enough. The last one that I'll say there is that they care whether the opportunity fits the family's long-term goals. And I think that's when you look at opportunities, man, when you're speaking to folks that are at this caliber of level, if you will, they are looking at alignment and exclusivity and privacy very different than the person who, again, just maybe had their first seven-figure exit or just had their first seven-figure year or more, right? Like that, it's a very different conversation. So when you're aligning with a family office, you're looking at their long-term goals, their historic brand, if you will, and the way they want to preserve that and see it compound for the future to come. Very different conversations, you guys. And I believe that is why direct investing trends that we're seeing today matter. Like, according to Citi's 2025 Global Family Office Report, after surveying 346 family office respondents across 45 countries, Citi found that 70% of respondents were engaged in direct investments, and 40% of those direct investors increased or significantly increased their activity over the prior year. So what does that mean, right? And I pulled this directly. You guys can check that out on Citi's website from a September 16, 2025 article that they published. So family offices are not only buying exposure through funds. Many are moving closer to the asset, actually in the land space, real assets, enjoying that asset along with their family, loved ones, clients, and friends. Direct investing can mean that they are buying a private company, that co-GP, I'm seeing that as well, co-investing with a sponsor, acquiring real estate, backing a single asset vehicle, so like a SPV, or in this particular fund that we're currently raising for, a single asset fund, a specific property, 356 acres that we're acquiring in Dallas, Texas, or investing in a specific project. And the reason there really is straightforward. Direct deals can provide far more transparency, more control, less red tape, if you will, more customization, and potentially less fee drag than traditional fund structures. To be transparent, right? Like I've found this to be true in conversations. I have a mentor from my Bible study, wildly successful, over $50 million in commercial real estate. Has done very well for himself from very humble beginnings. Amazing guy, and he once told me that. If I give you, Kobe, if I give you $10, then if I give you $10, then you're my partner. You needed that $10, right? In very layman's terms, guys. If I give you 10 million, I'm now your partner. And the way he described it to me, very simple, you guys, very, very simple Southern guy in conversation, but it hits home so well. What he was saying is that when you start to operate at that check size with family offices, to talk about numbers here for a second, they are bringing that web. Go back to that example with the spider, Charlotte's web, if you will, Charlotte in the middle of that web. They are bringing their attorneys, they are bringing their team, their ecosystem to you as a sponsor, as the operator, and ensuring success of that win. And that really resonated with me. And I think, again, going back to some of those things about customization, control, transparency, fee drag, I'm seeing that as being something that's increasingly really turning it down and pushing the needle for folks who, with family offices, taking a more direct approach, if you will, to ensuring the win, especially for early stage founders. So I'll share that. UBS reported that family offices still had meaningfully 21% average allocation to private equity back in 2024. And that's actually split between direct private equity and funds or funds of funds as well. And I actually pulled that from USBS Global Family Office report from May 21st back in 2025. So I wanted to give you guys kind of the landscape of the last couple of years and where I'm seeing it trend right now. So, what is the biggest takeaway here from today's conversation? Is not that family offices hate funds, not at all, not at all. The takeaway here is that they want better access and better alignment. I've found that of the folks I've been speaking to most recently, they're very interested again in who you are as an operator, but understanding proximity, if you will, to the asset. What does this position look like? Are you already building relationships with an exit strategy in mind pre-purchase, like your pre-purchase diligence? Like they are more dialed in on bringing their ecosystem to bat and leveraging that for folks who are, there's an old phrase in Texas called a wildcatter, if you will, someone who is going out and finding an opportunity and then mobilizing their ecosystem behind that operator upon that opportunity, if you will. So you have capital that is much like a battleship. It can move slow, and that is a reality of family offices, is that we're looking at a longer horizon, if you will, of getting to check being cut, that wire happening in the acquisition, because there is heavy diligence that comes about with operating in that particular space. So whereas you might have a ultra high net worth individual, or RIA, for example, could be a little bit longer, but if you have a high net worth individual who can just, hey, write a check, they might get that over to you within 3 months time, if you will, of a diligence period. Whereas with your family offices, it might be 12 months. However, you're getting the battleship, you're getting the full ecosystem, the full fleet, if you will, of a engine. So I hope you guys like the metaphors. This is how I see the world and how I view it. That's just my artistic side, if you will. Um, so they want to know what they own, man. They want to know what they own. They want to better understand and build a true relationship with the operator. They want to understand the asset level risks that are specific to your niche or whatever offering you're providing, especially for me, someone that's in the alternative, consider the alternative asset space, if you will. They want to understand the specific risks that are there. And as I mentioned, they want clarity on the exit. Are you already buying with the end in mind? Do you already have a disposition conversation going on with who that future buyer is going to be? And I think that really is a shift, and it matters for land because as a single asset fund, as I mentioned, the opportunity already is naturally direct. These are folks who enjoy things that they can see, touch, feel. I've had a conversation most recently with a firm with several tens of billions of dollars in assets under management, having a conversation with someone that I widely respect, who gave me his time to say, hey, we've been quite successful, and we're looking at now, where does conversations around conservation, development, philanthropy, the future, if you will, generations. What does that look like from a stewardship angle where we can do continue to do well, of course, but also do good at the same time, and the right opportunities that present that are different than just numbers on a screen, right? Being able to go out and have one of the partners or one of their children or someone or clients have their child get their first deer or shoot their first pheasant, if you will, or these real or just taking a hike or a walk. It doesn't always have to be hunting or fishing. Just exploring and being able to enjoy nature from a real asset while also having great ecological impact again, but also great financial success as well. And that really proved to kind of go off script for a second. That conversation was one that really proved not so much concept, but really proved the core of the mission and the thesis for us, which is to acquire, improve, and enhance and exit 10,000 acres over the next 10 years of seeing that no, this is not only just a novel, a great mission, but this is something that truly aligns with some of the largest institutions um, in these family offices, not just here in the US, but abroad as well. So again, family office can underwrite the actual asset, not a broad promise, not a vague strategy, but the actual land itself when it comes to what we do. And I think to tie this up, because I don't want the video to be too long today, I think what's important to understand is that the direct investment logic is very simple. Specific properties, specific basis, specific improvement plan, specific risks. I would add in there specific tax advantages, tax aware in assets with some of the sections I mentioned earlier 179, 168, K, bonus depreciation, big beautiful bill, legislation changes, and specific exit paths. There is more intuitive, I'm finding they are more intuitive into the many different private investors that exist now than just a blind pool, if you will. So, in so many words, I hope this video wasn't too boring for you guys today. There was quite a bit that I wanted to make sure that I unpacked. But most importantly, I think a huge takeaway that I want to share is that as I'm meeting with these family offices, as we go into this particular project, our flagship property, 356 acres that we're looking to acquire in Dallas, Texas. And the conversations I'm having early on with our conservation organizations, our development groups, I mean, my gosh, Texas Department of Transportation, so many different organizations. Those are the right conversations. Like those existing relationships that expedite the exit path or expedite the disposition, if you will, into the right arena. Those are the type of relationships that I'm finding family offices really appreciate, and they really value, no matter what your tenure is as a early stage founder, your first fund, your first raise, or whether you've closed several different rounds before or several different raises. Those are the relationships that you can't easily duplicate because time time and alignment is still a invaluable asset, and family offices get that and they appreciate it. So if you love this video, I ask that you share, like, comment, subscribe, share your feedback or your experiences as well, especially for my folks who are in this space in private equity, hedge funds, or whatever the case may be. Again, we are a Regulation D 506C for this first fund. We are super excited and honored about this opportunity to be able to steward this property and having amazing conversations on where this property is going to end up and become. So we are currently raising. If you are an accredited investor, feel free to schedule a call at www.boonecapital.co. That is www.boonecapital.co. I can also be reached at kobe@boonecapital.co. Again, CEO. We'd love to have a conversation with you. But until next time, God bless and thank you for your time.